Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Hi, dear ones. Dr. Edie here. Welcome back to the podcast and welcome back to the series on how to build your dream business. I am loving this series and we've gotten some really good feedback that you're loving it too, especially if you're a woman in midlife. I think you should build a business because I know how much it helps you grow as a person, as a human, as a mama, as a Grammy, as a wife. I have loved building a business in midlife. It has been so fun and so challenging. Today, we're specifically talking about growing your emotional capacity. Now, if you've been around here very long, you know we love to talk about your emotional life on this podcast. I have like a whole 8-part series that I did last year on becoming more emotionally strong and more emotionally capable. But I want to talk about it specifically today as it relates to business because I think there are a few areas where it's really important to grow your capacity. If you're wanting to build something online or wanting to build a business in midlife or wanting to, make your impact, write your book. I know I have so many amazing, incredible, gifted women in my community who are just changing the world and doing, amazing things. And so I really want to speak to the capacity, the emotional capacity that you need to grow in different areas in order to do that, in order to kind of put your work out there. And the reason that I think this is so important is otherwise I think we have a tendency to shrink ourselves. We have a tendency to shrink our emotional capacity. We kind of have a tendency, especially if we've been going through a lot of emotional changes with perimenopause and menopause. We get a little bit afraid of our emotions, and it's so easy to kind of like, well, I've done my thing. And, we can make our lives really small so that we kind of protect ourselves so that we don't have to feel those hard emotions or whatever. And I love this, building your dream business, going after your dreams, starting that nonprofit, writing that book, whatever it is for you as a way for you to really expand your emotional capacity because that will serve you in every single area of your life. It is one of the things that I am so thankful I did because it serves me every single day. It has made me not afraid of my emotional life. It has made me so much more willing to experience a wide range of emotions. And when you're willing to do that, you're not afraid to go after your dreams because you're not afraid of the hard negative emotions that are going to come with that. And one of the surprising things that I'll tell you about today is that one of the times in my own business journey that was really the hardest for me is when I had amazing success really fast. That can really kind of upset the emotional apple cart too. So the first area that I want to talk about is this area of visibility. I experienced this, I would say, for the first time in a really hurtful way, probably about 10 years ago, maybe. And it was like the first time that I was putting myself out there online to sell something. And those of you who know me know that I am seriously passionate about the things that I'm passionate about. And I have really never had trouble sharing that. And so maybe I'm a natural salesperson. People tell me that all the time. Like the way you talk about the things that you love and that you talk about makes me want to buy them all. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like that. And I was beginning to learn about natural health and essential oils and supplements infused with oils. And you guys, my mind was literally blown. I had such insane results. By the way, if you didn't get to listen to the class that I taught this past weekend on the science behind energy and emotions, just come over to the House of Joy or to my regular Edie Wadsworth Instagram and I can send you the link. That class was so good. A classic example of me just going off on things that I love, things that you should have in your life. Well, this was back when I just had started with that. And it was the first time I had been online for a long time. And I had just been sharing my family and sharing stories. And my house had burned down. So people were, so kind to me. And when my house burned down, I got a lot of visibility, like other people sharing my blog. And so, I got a lot more visibility. And then I don't know, it was probably 3 or 4 years after that, that I started to, share online and begin to build my first business with Young Living. And I got the first time that I ever sent out an email that was like, hey, I've been using this product and I love it so much and you should try it too. I got lots of like incredible results. I mean, literally, you guys, I built my Young Living business the first year in business with really not even knowing how to share it, just because I was so excited about it, sharing it online and teaching classes in person. I built a 6-figure business my first year in Young Living like 10 years ago. But that very first email I sent out, I got some of the worst hate mail that I have ever gotten in all of my years of sharing. And it literally about took me under. It about killed me because I had just not been used to that. And I didn't realize, like, oh, okay, so with this territory of being willing to put myself out there and say, hey, I've been loving this thing, you should try it too. I don't know why, but I just didn't really expect that. And I remember showing these comments to my husband and just sobbing and going, oh my gosh, people misunderstand me. They don't understand that I've had, such amazing results with this. And he was so helpful and so kind and helped me work through it. And I don't know, if it weren't for him back then, I probably would have given up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally not worth it. Well, let me say, if you are in the early stages of doing it and you've gotten your first really awful comments or your first hate mail or your first negativity, I just want you to know to keep going. Keep going, you guys. I'm so thankful I kept going. Let me tell you a million amazing things that have happened because of that. First of all, about 10,000 people discovered natural health products that have changed their lives and, have made a huge difference in their health. So for that, I'm so thankful that I didn't let that crush me, that I didn't let that visibility and the negativity and rejection that sometimes comes with visibility, that I didn't let that take me down. That led to me writing a book. That led to me starting my coaching business, where another, 5,000 women have found incredible coaching tools. They tell me every day, oh my gosh, this stuff that you've been teaching has saved my marriage. I've gotten so much healthier. I've lost a bunch of weight. I wrote my book finally. I became a coach. Like a million amazing things have happened because I did not let that initial crushing negativity keep me down. And now it's not that those comments, like, I'm not a psychopath. It's not that those comments don't bother me anymore. A couple of things I've put in place. Number one, I don't answer the emails anymore. So somebody else there's like a little bit of a barrier. So, somebody is answering the emails so that we can stay in touch with, things that we need to improve and how we can better help our clients. And we really are loving people who care and, are listening. So it's not that. It's just that I don't need to be the first person on the front line hearing everybody's negative thought or complaint. The other thing that I've learned so much just in the coaching tools that I teach myself is that someone else's really awful comment says a lot more about them than you. And this has helped me so much. I just shudder to think if I had let those first initial negative, hateful comments keep me from expanding and growing my business and writing my book and sharing my life and all of that. I just think, man, my life would just be totally different. I would have shrunk back. I would have been like, oh my gosh, it's not safe for me to be who I am. It's not safe for me to share the things that I'm loving. And now I have so much more capacity. I can even, you guys, now it's crazy because somebody can say something negative, which they which they still do sometimes on our social media channels or whatever. When I was running ads for my Made for More workshop this last time, you guys, the comments on those ads were so awful. People were equally like, oh my gosh, I love your glasses. I love your sweater, to you look so terrible in that. I would be ashamed to show my face on the internet. Like, that was the range of comments on those ads. And if you let that get to you, you will keep yourself small. You will keep yourself from making the impact that you were called to make. You will keep yourself from feeling those emotions because it can be hard. Now, when I get comments like that, I'm like, oh, this poor person needs some coaching. This is not the way you talk to perfect strangers on the internet. So I feel some compassion. I can find humor in it. This last set of comments that I found, we were skiing in Park City with my family, and I became aware that there were a slew of awful comments, and I had to have my poor daughter Emmy, who works with us. She does our podcast. I'm like, Emmy, you have to come on Facebook with me and help like handle these comments. It's like so crazy. Most of the worst ones I had already, deleted or answered or whatever. But I'm just telling you that as you get more visible, as you're willing to put your work out there, as you're willing to expand your life, it is going to come with this visibility, which can be very difficult unless you are willing to expand your emotional capacity. You're willing to feel embarrassed. You're willing to feel shame. You're willing to feel rejected, whatever it is. So that for me has been a huge part of my own growth. The second thing is really increasing your capacity for failure. You guys, there is nothing like building a business online in midlife to show you all the ways that you are inadequate. Like with the tech, seriously, how have I figured out the amount of tech that I've even figured out? Well, mostly I've hired good people, but also every day I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, it feels challenging and I doubt myself and I feel like a failure and I feel like a Luddite. Like, how do I not know how to do this? Sometimes my kids will say to me, it is hard to believe that you run an online business and you don't know how to do that. And that's true. But I have just been willing to keep going. I've been willing to problem solve. I've been willing to fail. We had, I have a really successful business now. We spend, probably how much did we spend last year on Facebook ads? Maybe $700,000. Like, we are spending a lot of money when we are running promotions, and that can feel unsettling and crazy. And for the most part, that has worked out. We have been able to invest back in our business and go find the clients that we know are out there that need and want our coaching tools. And so for the most part, it's worked out. But we had a launch this year that was kind of scary. Like, the money that we had invested that previously before had brought us, all of these new clients, and we were so excited to meet them. This particular promotion did not pan out like that. And it was the first time that this had ever happened. And it can feel scary and crushing and feel a lot like failure. And I've had a million things like that in my business. We just accidentally sent out an email last week that went all to the wrong people. And, we can make ourselves wrong for that. We can go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Or we can go, okay, I can feel the sting of this failure. I can feel a little bit of shame from, oh, we sent this wrong email to the wrong people. But I don't have to mean that I shouldn't be in business, that we're not providing something truly valuable to other people. So, when you consider doing this, putting your work out in the world, will you expand your capacity for failure? Will you be willing to fail? Will you be willing to feel those negative emotions that come from that rejection, that failure? That definitely is a capacity that I've had to increase. And now, after being in business now for probably almost 11 years, I can tell you that there are very few things that rattle me now. There are very few things that really even get my attention or upset me. I have just learned, like, this is the price of doing business. And I am so thankful for the way it has grown me, for the way it has grown my emotional capacity, for the way it has grown my capacity for visibility, for failure. Like, I'm so very thankful for it. So very little rattles me, but that has come after a lot of failure and a lot of willingness to sit with these negative emotions and recover and show back up the next day and offer the thing that I know is going to be helpful to people. And so if you find yourself in the same boat, keep going. This next one is interesting, you guys. I have really had to increase my capacity for success. Nobody warned me that when your thing, your book, your business takes off, that can be hard and unsettling too. And I think back to the time that this happened to me, where it literally sent my nervous system into like a fight or flight response for probably 6 weeks. It took me to calm back down, was the year that I hit $1 million for the first time in my business. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And I didn't know, like, if you've read my book, you know that I come from very poor background, that I have had a poverty mindset most of my life and really have worked really hard to develop an abundance mindset around everything: life, finances, relationships. And although I had done some work around money, I just had no idea how success financially would set me off. It was kind of like, it was a little bit of a way of self-sabotage. It was almost as if subconsciously I was pushing it away. Like, no, I don't want that. Like, I can't handle that. And I thankfully had a really amazing coach at the time, an amazing business coach. And she called it success intolerance, that we have to build capacity for success. Our minds have this kind of, glass ceiling, this kind of limit that we think is possible for us. And anytime you break through that, you really have to do the inner work to kind of match up to what is externally happening for you. And this for sure has happened to me at multiple levels of my business. This has happened to me, as I've grown my team and the people that are around me that I've hired in just so many ways. I have had to do this. The amount of investments that I make, again, I mentioned, making investments in my business, hiring help, hiring coaches, like just really cultivating a powerful abundance mindset that allows me then this freedom to invest, to go after failure, to be visible. Just this year alone, we have grown our Instagram, I think, by 60,000 people, like a crazy amount. And with that comes, people who don't know you, people who are just finding you, and they find one little piece of marketing that doesn't really represent the whole of you. And then they have whatever their thoughts are about that. So in these ways of like visibility and failure and even success, I have really had to grow my capacity. And what that ultimately boils down to is that I have to be willing to feel a wide range of emotion. I have to be willing to feel this rejection, this failure, this shame sometimes, this disappointment, this frustration with, running an online tech business where there's so many tech things involved, but also increasing my capacity to generate the positive emotion that I need to generate to keep going, the courage to keep showing up, the courage to keep serving my clients, the inspiration and motivation that I have to generate from myself to be a leader in my field, to really coach my clients at the highest level, to hold space for as many clients as I have. And it has really, really been life-changing for me. It has given me, I can't even tell you, so much more enjoyment, I think, of my whole life, because these things that I've had to learn for business have translated to my life. And now I feel like just my capacity in general is so much bigger. I enjoy my life so much more. I feel so much more present and available to all of life, all of the different parts of it, because I have had to grow this in the area of my business. So it's time, dear one, to grow your capacity. And whether you do that to build a business, to write your book, to get your work out there, to start your nonprofit, whatever it is, don't be afraid to do it. When you start getting that rejection, that means you're in the right place. That means you're right on the edge, and you are capable of growing your capacity in this way so that you can handle everything that life brings to you. And I find when you do this, you can just open yourself up to bigger and bigger and bigger dreams. So I just don't stop dreaming. I just keep dreaming about what is going to be next. How can I serve in a bigger way? How can I make more impact? How can I 10x not only this part of my business, but my marriage, my family life, my faith, the fun that I'm having, just the experience that I'm having of my own life. And I feel like building this capacity in business has really helped me do that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you, all of the reviews and comments that you leave us. We read everyone. We're so thankful for you. And I will see you next time on the House of Joy. Bye for now.